White House vaccinations, no-deal Brexit gunboats, and Google's meltdown. This is your TLDR News daily briefing for Monday the 14th of December. In the first story of the daily briefing today, we discuss the president's plans to move White House staff down the list of those who are eligible for coronavirus vaccines. It was only yesterday that officials claimed that those who work in close proximity to the president and other senior government officials would receive the vaccine swiftly. Clearly, this was in an attempt to stop the virus from spreading through the heart of government. And two key arguments could be made in favour of such a move. First, this would demonstrate to the American public that the vaccine's safe, and that their leaders and staff alike feel comfortable taking it. The hope would be that this would inspire confidence in the vaccine in the wider public. The second key argument for this is that it will protect the continuity of government. Put simply, during a pandemic, the executive gains a lot of powers, and as the old adage goes, with great power comes great responsibility. The government has a lot to deal with at the moment, and steering a country through a previously unthinkable pandemic is difficult as it is. It would become even more difficult if members of staff keep requiring time off work. However, there were also counter-arguments, which were largely raised by social media users. The main argument against such a plan is the fairness. Why should government make themselves safe before everyone else is? Well, it appears that following such backlash, the president has made a U-turn, tweeting, "People working in the White House should receive the vaccine somewhat later in the program, unless specifically necessary." Tell us what you think of this U-turn and whether it's the right decision in the comments below. In the second story of the daily briefing today, we talk about a story that broke over the weekend. While talks are now set to continue between the EU and the UK, it's become clear that a no-deal Brexit is certainly on the cards. The Prime Minister has already advised businesses to begin preparations for such an event. If a no-deal did happen, British fishing waters would only legally be accessible by British fishing boats. Currently, the EU and UK have an agreement where EU fishing boats have the right to share territories for fishing. Exactly how to untangle these agreements remains one of the biggest sticking points in negotiations between the UK and EU. Now, you may be wondering exactly how the government plans to protect British fishing waters if negotiations fully collapse and we end up with a no deal. Well, it's obvious, isn't it? Put military gunboats in the water to threaten French fishermen. Nope, we're not joking. That's the honest solution the government has come up with. The Ministry of Defence has called this solution a robust enforcement of fishing waters policy. It should be noted at this point that ships are already being used in the EU to enforce rules, but Navy gunboats does seem like an escalation. In fact, even a former Conservative minister, Tobias Ellwood, called the policy undignified. We'll have to see exactly whether the government manages to negotiate a deal, or whether they'll have to resort to the gunships idea. In the final story of the daily briefing today, we get a bit meta. For those of you who didn't know, we write the daily briefing in Google Docs, which, once written, is shared amongst the team for comments and feedback. Just as we were in the process of finding the topics for today's video, we tried to start the document so that we could begin writing them up, but for some reason we just kept getting errors. Turns out that we're in the middle of a rare Google outage. The Google Drive suite wasn't the only thing affected either. YouTube, Maps, Google Play Store, and Google Home devices were all affected. In fact, one of the only things that wasn't affected was Google Search itself, and this outage has obviously caused disruption across the globe. One of the most disruptive problems was related to Google Home, as some were unable to turn on the lights in their house if they were solely controlled by Google Home devices, leading to some social media users claiming that this outage has given them a lot to think about. The outage only lasted for about 30 minutes, and it's as yet unclear what the actual issue was. A Google spokesperson was contacted by the BBC for comment, but was unable to respond due to Gmail being down. And combining those last two stories, our recent video about Johnson's apparently oven-ready Brexit deal was hit by the outage, impacting the number of people it reached through YouTube, because YouTube didn't exist for a while. So if you want to lend us a hand, check out that video and even consider sharing it with your friends. Thanks for your support. Anyway, for those who think the news is too long, be sure to check out tomorrow's daily briefing. Read the newsletter by signing up at tldrnews.co.uk/daily. Listen to the briefing by searching for TLDR News in your podcast app, or watch the briefing over at youtube.com/TLDR Daily.